Buenas tardes y bienvenidos a la sexta semana, semana número 6. Well, we are getting closer to the end, and as we near the end, it actually slows down just a little bit. For the next 2 weeks, we will be covering Capítulo 5, Chapter 5. It will be divided between 2 weeks, and along with that, we will also only have one dialogue this week and one dialogue next week. And then that last couple days, we will have the oral exams. But first, let's talk about what's going on for this week. So as always, you are currently watching the Vista General, which will be placed in the appropriate spot. Los objetivos y metas for Capítulo 5. Students will be able to identify and refer to different parts of the body. Okay? There are some pages in your book, pages 131 and 132, 131, 132, that will list different body parts. Okay? You will actually even have a quiz in Blackboard over those. Students will be able to refer to indirect objects by their pronouns. So in the previous chapter, we were doing direct objects and their pronouns. Now we're doing indirect object and their pronouns. You'll be able to ask and tell where something hurts. We'll do more verbs like gustar. Okay? What you like, what bothers you, what you don't like, etc. And you'll be able to ask and discuss about what matters to you, what's of interest to you. So as always, you're going to be reading the textbook and doing the corresponding My Spanish Lab activities. And as I mentioned earlier, there will be a vocabulary quiz in Blackboard, although the vocabulary is found in the textbook. There will be grammar quizzes on My Spanish Lab. And this week we will only have one dialogue, which will be due on that Sunday, February 19th. And as always, don't forget to log in your 2 hours of language cultural contact for your last presentation. Okay, so the lista de tareas, more drawn out. Again, you have the semana 6 plan, as well as right over here. And again, this just goes into more detail. We will be starting Capítulo 5, and this week we're just covering pages 130 to 142, 130 a 142. Okay. You'll take the quiz over the cuerpo humano, which comes from the vocabulary on pages 131, 132, 131, and 132. Okay. You only have 15 minutes to take this quiz, so you want to make sure that you know them. When you have completed the grammar for this week, you will complete the quiz on My Spanish Lab, and that will consist of the last 3 activities on your homework. And this time, they are worth 10 points each, and you only have 8 minutes for each one. Okay. Alrighty, so as I mentioned before, make sure you log in your 2 hours for your cultural contact presentation. And don't forget to turn in Dialogue 7 with your partners. Okay. Now this week, as mentioned, we have a quiz over the vocabulario. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead. I've already opened that up. And you have the vocabulary you need to know. Comes from your textbook, Salud, and is found on those pages, 131, 132. 131 covers the external body parts, 132 are the internal body parts. Okay. There is also a nice screencast on helping you with the pronunciation of some of these words, so I definitely encourage you to view that. And as always, there's the directions for placing accent marks. And then finally, you will take the quiz. Okay. Make sure you study before you take this formal quiz, so your book should be put away when you go to take it. You have 1 attempt and you have 15 minutes. Okay. So, the next thing on our list is the diálogo. And again, this is going to be due on Sunday, February 19th, el domingo, el 19 de febrero. And Diálogo 7, again, general instructions from the syllabi. But this one is a diálogo entre un nutriólogo or nutrióloga y una paciente. El paciente es un hombre o la paciente es una mujer de México que acaba de sufrir un infarto de corazón y también padece de diabetes. Okay, so, one person will play the nutritionist, el nutriólogo, who is talking with a patient, and the patient happens to be either a man or a woman from Mexico who just suffered a heart attack, but also suffers from diabetes. So there needs to be recommendation for a healthy diet and exercise program, but the patient prefers his or her own diet, which contains some rather unhealthy choices. So, and also this patient doesn't like to exercise. Okay. So I encourage you to review the food vocabulary from the previous chapter and review the parts of the body to help you create this dialogue. So again, you're going to be having appropriate greetings. You're going to do introductions. Okay? And remember, you even have up there nutriólogo, nutrióloga as the profession. Okay? And you want to find out from the patient, first of all, their name, how they spell their first and last name, or how they spell their last name, how he or she feels today, ask them what their normal diet is like. Okay? And what is his or her exercise routine. Okay? And then give some suggestions for a healthy diet, as well as some exercise suggestions that are specific to different body parts. So that's where the body parts come in. And ask your patient if he or she likes your suggestions. Okay? Or if he or she can, feels they can do them, and tell your patient what he or she needs to do. That's using from 4.8 IK. Okay. Thank him or her, and then the appropriate closings. Okay. Okay, so that's Diálogo 7, and don't forget to, include the vocabulary and expressions you've been learning. Make sure that you also comment appropriately. Okay, and then the last is the recursos, which I will open up here. And the recursos, again, these are to help you. Okay? A lot of these are PowerPoints from a different textbook. But here we have, if you need to review indirect object pronouns. Okay, or indirect objects and their pronouns. Using indirect objects, pronouns with direct object pronouns, formal commands, how to form adverbs, and comparisons. Okay, so those should be able to help you out throughout this week. Okay. As always, let me know, avísenme si tienen alguna pregunta. Let me know if you have any questions, y que tengan una buena semana.